and all of a sudden, Mike Florio wants to give all athletes a bottle, a blanket, a participation trophy for doing post-game interviews.
So for my primary complaint, I'm going to the world of Disney Plus and specifically Mighty Ducks Game Changers. Not what you were expecting, the direction I was going to go in, I know. But here is my complaint. It's not with the series itself, which I find to be a lighthearted family comedy drama, very predictable, but an enjoyable watch over the course of 5 hours. 10, 30 or so minute, 30 to 40 minute episodes. My issue with the series is this. When you go to television and you do a complete series, you're doing that because the exposition can go longer and you can take time with characters and you can develop a plot and develop a storyline over more time. And when you have a feature film, that's an hour and a half to 2 hours, or like the 1992 great version of the Mighty Ducks, 1 hour and 43 minutes, you don't have as much time to develop the characters and get into plot. My issue with Mighty Ducks Game Changers is somehow, over the course of 5 hours, they were able to show you less hockey and less development of the team than the original Mighty Ducks showed in an hour and 43 minutes. This was a team that went from awful to great without any explanation. And they wanted the audience to completely buy how they went from not winning a game, not scoring a goal, losing 12-0, to competing for a state championship. I understand how sports movies work, but typically there's, a montage or something that shows how the team gets better. Mighty Ducks Game Changers failed at this over a longer period of time. It is unacceptable. Shame on you, Disney Plus. That is my primary complaint.
My primary complaint, I visited him before. He insists I come to him again. Gary Sanchez. Yesterday, Gary Sanchez hit a double, which was a miracle. I was happy. Then the next batter hit a ground ball to shortstop. What does one do when you're on second base and a ground ball is hit in front of you? Simon's team knows this, and Simon is 11. You retreat. What did Gary Sanchez do? He ran to third base, where the shortstop turned and got him out. This amateurish baseball from Gary Sanchez continues. The Yankees have now invested 7 years in this guy, waiting for him to turn into something that is just not going to happen. He's hitting .202 with 6 home runs. They put up with this his terrible defense and base running because he's a slugger. Batting average isn't how people judge baseball players anymore. They use statistics like slugging percentage. A good slugging percentage is .450. A great slugging percentage is .550. He's slugging .379. His on-base plus slugging is .706. That's a D in on-base plus slugging. -18 in the number of runs below average worth. Defense, 4 errors. -21 in runs saved above average per 1,200 innings, which is a popular defensive metric. 20 passed balls. 11 stolen bases against him with 1 caught stealing. That's an 8% caught stealing rate. They've brought in special coaches for him. They basically fired Joe Girardi or didn't re-sign him because they needed to figure this thing out. It's not figure-outable. Kyle Higashioka is the backup catcher. He catches Garrett Cole, their best pitcher. That's not an accident. He should catch all the pitchers. He sucks as a hitter too, but at least he plays defense and he knows how to run the bases. End the Gary Sanchez experiment. It's time to move on. That's my primary complaint.
Naomi Osaka wants to do less media, in fact, no media. And all of a sudden, Mike Florio wants to give all athletes a bottle, a blanket, a participation trophy for doing post-game interviews. He tweeted this yesterday from his Pro Football Talk account. Mike, the idea that 99% of players in a locker room would do media events and availability with reporters post-game is laughable. I've been in post-game locker rooms where the team sucked, and 100% of the time, it was the same 5 or 6 players who had the stones to speak up on behalf of their really crappy team over and over and over again, while others scattered quickly after games. Put that back up, Jacob. The Titans alone have had 2 players over the last 16 months who not only didn't speak to the media, but quit on a good team. And your argument is 99% of players after a loss would stand up and speak to post-game media members who are actually in the locker room. 2 out of 53 are quitting a good team. Also, easy proposal by you, Florio, from a guy who doesn't step foot in a locker room. But his site, and a good one I might add, and one I use, his site is based on those who do, and the work of reporters who do go into post-game locker rooms and require one-on-one and gang up opportunities at a locker with players. If you for one moment think that 99% of a locker room is going to make themselves available post-game, it's laughable. And it's coming from someone who doesn't have to face the music for anything he posts. It's my primary complaint.
Bravo, Hutton. I mean, this guy, you're
well
right.
said.
His site is a great site because it aggregates everything, and it's a one-stop shop for somebody looking for NFL stuff like we are. But it's an aggregation site. So it's easy for him to say, well, yeah, the players don't need to be available because he doesn't need them to be available. But all the people that he's aggregating need them to be available. And he's not as smart as he puts himself out to be. Does he not get that he's one step removed from those players not talking to people, hurting his own business? He's very naive. And this is a problem that exists in Nashville media a lot. There's some talking heads in Nashville who never are in the locker room to face the music. Maybe because their show conflicts with locker room time, that's fine. But they act like they know how the salary cap works or how locker rooms work or how team dynamics work, and they've never been close to those things. They maybe have washed somebody's underwear and a team manager.
Here's the other unfortunate truth with it all. There's a good portion of NFL players and pro athletes in general who need to be coddled, and they're a bunch of babies after a loss.
Absolutely.
If the Titans lost on game day, there were certain players I wouldn't be able to talk to post-game. And I was doing post-game interviews as the Titans radio network because certain dudes didn't have the stones to talk about a loss or to talk about a bad play call. That's the NFL. Guys are a bunch of front runners. And Florio is one too. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified every time Outkick 360 goes live. We are live weekdays, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, right here across the Outkick network. And while you're at it, like this video and let us know what you think in the comments below.